Hello everyone, welcome back to the Oberon channel, and I'm sorry for the large gap between this episode and the last one, which is a couple of weeks ago, but I had some health issues, but now everything's okay and we're going to proceed now with the clock gadgets in Oberon. I'm going to explain you how they work. Okay, so the clock and the calendar gadgets in Oberon are quite simple, so it's easy for me to tell you something about it. And as you can see here in the Oberon companion, calendar, gadget and clock are something that comes behind the button that I already explained in the last video. So it's logical to follow the path of gadgets down to the end that we may reach somewhere somehow, but today we're gonna talk about clock and calendar gadgets. So as always, the first tool we have to fire up is the gadgets panel. You already know this, and let's do some background here. Let's use a panel to put all this stuff into. I want to show you. So we initialize a panel here, we make it a little larger like this. So what I want to show you is how we can make a very easy world-time clock and calendar panel that you have always on your desktop to see what the time is, not only on your location but also, let's say, in New York and Tokyo. So at first we want to have some kind of caption so that you can see of what time we're talking about, and we place a caption here. You can see this is a very small square that is the minimum size of a caption, and you can select it with the right mouse button and we start Columbus. We can place a name on it. So let's say this is caption Berlin, because the first time zone we want to display here for the calendar and the clock gadget is Berlin in Germany. And the string we want to be displayed, of course, is Berlin. You can change the size of the font, or even the font family we want. For this moment we will keep it like this. We click on apply and close, and when we deselect by pressing F2 you can see we have Berlin here. Okay, so now we want to put a clock down here, so let's use a clock, this one here. So we put our cursor about here and we middle click on the clock gadget in the gadgets panel, and then we have a clock. Now we can select and drag it down with the middle mouse button, something like this. Okay. And because this clock is analog, as you can see, it's not so easy to read the correct time. So we're gonna place another clock, a digital clock, right below it. So let's place a digital clock right here, and you can see it's 12:30 in the morning. Okay, now we can arrange this a little bit. I also showed you the align function that are inherently contained in the gadgets toolkit. So let's select the caption, this clock and this digital clock, when we go over to align and we say centered vertically, and now you can see all this neatly aligned in one column. Then we can do some more. So let's select this clock gadget again, start Columbus, and you can see that we can change the color. And we forgot to give it a name, so let's name this clock Berlin, and let's change the color to, let's say, position number 2 on the color palette, and this is green, as you can see. Okay, so we deselect it and we select the digital clock, and when we click on this magnifier button here, then Columbus catches the digital clock, and we name this Dig Clock Berlin, and let's change the color to green in the same way, so both is green here. So that's nice. Can close this for now. Okay. Now we do the same again for a different time zone. So let's say we want to have a caption here again, and select it, start Columbus, and we call this caption New York. Caption New York, and the displayed string of course is New York. What we can do also is we can underline the caption. That makes it look a little more pretty, and we also can do the same here. This is better, yeah. Okay, and now we place another clock right here under the caption New York. I'm going to roughly align it with the clock here on the left side, the Berlin clock, and also with the column here, which is made up by this caption string New York. And we're going to align this more fine, more granularly in the following. But first let me start Columbus, and we name this clock New York, and we choose the color palette number 3, which should be red. No, it's blue. Okay, but blue is okay. And yes, close this. What I forgot to tell you, and that's the thing I really want to do this. We can apply a different time zone here. So let's say I think New York is about 6 hours lagging behind Berlin, so we put -6 hours here. Choose apply, and you can see now we have a different time here. To make it more readable, we also put a digital clock down here. Let's say like this. We start Columbus, we name it Dig Clock New York. The naming is not committing in this case, but I think it's always a good approach if you always name your objects, because there will be some situation in the future where we will need a name, and so it's good to train yourself not to forget this. Okay, the color is blue and the time div is -6. Okay, now we can see we got the wrong color here. 3, color was 3. Okay, that was my fault. So we change it to 3, and now it's blue. That's better. And now we should align this a little bit more. For example, those two captions here, we can select them, we choose align, and we say align top. And now they are both aligned on the top. We do the same here with these both analog clocks. We say align top. And we do the same with these two digital clocks, align top. Okay, now it works. Yes, and now we can select this column here, all the 3 objects, and we say aligned, centered vertically, and now we have something that looks like a good matrix. Okay, let's place another time zone here. We put again our cursor right next to New York and we select caption again. Now we select the caption and we call this caption Tokyo, and it should display Tokyo. It should be underlined. Check apply, and here we are. We could drag this a little bit to the right like this, and now we're going to place the analog clock right here, and we use Columbus to name it Clock Tokyo, and we choose the color palette number 4. Let's see what it is. Okay, some kind of magenta, and as far as I know, Tokyo, the time of Tokyo is +8 hours compared to Berlin, so let's place 8 hours here. Okay, and now last but not least, the digital clock we're gonna put here. Selected, Columbus, dig clock Tokyo, color 4, time diff 8 hours. Apply. Well, now we're gonna arrange this a little bit like we did the last time. So first we start with the caption. We align both captions to top, and now we have a problem here because our digital clock was also selected. That's bad, so let's drag this down a little bit. Okay, so in Oberon you always have to take care what is selected and what not, because by just clicking with the mouse somewhere in the screen area does not imply that you are deselecting objects. You are selecting and deselecting objects by toggling with the clicking mouse button here, or by pressing F2, which is deselecting everything. So now we're gonna align these two analog clocks on the top, and we again made the same mistake. Yes, it's hard to learn. So again, those two clocks align top. Deselect, and now we take those digital clocks. I hope I did not forget to deselect something that I don't want to be selected, and align it to top. Now this works, and now we align these three objects on the column, centered vertically. Okay, good. Now we can shrink the panel size a little bit like this. Yeah, and we're done. So you can see on a clock there's not very much to do, not very much to configure. The only thing is the time difference, and that makes it easy to make something like this little nice world clock panel that can be floating around on your screen if you wanted. You also could have chosen a panel document, so that would be easy then to save this whole stuff and to retrieve it again. But it's also easy when you push the store button here. As you know, I already told you, everything which is instantiated now on the screen is saved to disk, and when we restart the gadget system again, it should be appear. So let's try this. Now we close this gadget panel, we put it our neat little world clock panel here, we click on store, and now I click on close, and now I reopen the desktop, and you can see there it is. So you don't need to save this separately as long as you want to keep on your screen area and you do not delete it, it will stay there. And you can expand this as much as you like with different time zones. I think it's quite fun. It reminds me on all those Worldtime Clock Panels floating around on my C64 or my Sinclair computer and my first IBM PC. I love this stuff. Okay, I hope you learned a little bit. Thanks for watching, and see you again in the next episode of the Oberon channel. Bye!